So, coming from CNBC, Nvidia is investing billions into this emerging technology that could change the AI industry. And so basically what we were talking about now is photonics. All right, so we've been hearing this from a lot of folks in the comment section, for the past couple of months. Eli, talk about photonics, photonic computing. And frankly, I don't know. There hasn't been a lot for me to actually talk about. Photonic computing does seem like an interesting concept. I just don't know if it is actually going anywhere, but it does appear Nvidia thinks it might be going in the direction that they want to go. So what we're talking about when we talk about photonic computing is basically where we use light for all the digital processing and things, right? So now when you have a CPU, when you have RAM, you basically have all the computer components. All the processing done in that computer is done using electricity, basically with copper wiring, right? And electrons are moved around, and I don't know, that's at the end of the day what gives you this video feed and that type of deal. The idea with photonics is basically what if we could use light in order to do processing, right? Instead of measuring the electrons moving from point A to point B, we can use light wavelength to do the exact same thing. It seems interesting. Basically, it seems viable. Apparently, it is viable, right? They have products that are coming out. Where I have questioned this in the past is simply whether or not the industry will go in that particular direction. I've talked about this before, like with crystalline storage. So crystalline storage is where you can use a crystal basically in order to store data. So you can store petabytes of data on a relatively small crystal, essentially, and there's no bit rot. Basically, you burn the data into the crystal, and it's essentially permanent. It's as permanent as a rock, right? Unless you shatter it, it's going to be there for the next millennia. The curious thing with crystalline storage is I first heard about crystalline storage back in the 1980s, right? Michael Crichton, actually, there's a book called Congo. Read the book Congo, not the movie. The movie was horrible. Anyways, I do believe the book Congo was talking about crystalline storage. Again, I think that was from like 1989. They proved the concept of crystalline storage in the early 2000s. And so at this point in time, crystalline storage is a known technology that is viable, blase, 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 and yet we don't use it. Right? Crystalline storage just doesn't, although it's something that can work, they know it can work, the whole 9 yards, we don't use it. We use FLAPE instead. Again, when you want to talk about the real stupidity of the technology world, we do not currently use crystalline storage, but we do use FLAPE. And you're like, Eli, what the fuck is FLAPE? 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 You know what FLAPE is? Crap, you not. So you know tape data storage? You got these digital tape cartridges. Well, what FLAPE is when you have this whole robotic system for these tape cartridges, and then you use flash storage, right? Basically, solid state storage as a caching mechanism for the stuff that's stored on your tape drive. So basically you have this robotic arm, you need information, it pulls out the tape, it gets plugged into the thing, it goes to the right index point, it pulls the data off. And so basically when it's pulling the data off to provide you the information, it will also be stored onto flash storage, basically onto a solid state drive as a caching system. So if somebody asks for the same information, in a relatively short amount of time, it'll come from that cache instead of coming from the tape. Right? And this is what I want you to understand. This is what I want you to understand about the real world of technology. Crystalline storage, we still do not have. FLAPE is a real thing you can buy today. Anyways, so when we talk about photonic computing, I don't particularly have any snark against it. I don't really have a lot of issues with it. But it's just one of those things where, yeah, it sounds like a great idea, but, have you heard about crystalline storage? Where I think this becomes interesting with artificial intelligence, though, is we're running into the problem with electricity consumption, right? And this is one of the things to understand, too, with technology and how technology gets developed. Now, I talk about macro forces a lot. We talk about economics. We talk about politics. We talk about that kind of thing and why that's important with technology. And because so many times, that's what pushes a particular technology forward. So the issue that we have right now with artificial intelligence is that the current stack hardware tech stack burns a tremendous amount of electricity. It just does, right? All the GPUs, all the servers, everything else. They want every AI data center to essentially have a nuclear reactor connected to it, which is just a lot of electricity. And so here in the United States, we have a lot of problems with that, right? We do not produce enough electricity as it is. We are not bringing enough electricity online to be able to deal with all of the new AI equipment that is supposed to be being deployed. This is where you talked about in the past, where there are now full-fledged data centers that have been built, but it'll be 3 years until they get connected to the electric grid, which is a wee bit of a problem, right? And so this is one of the things that might actually push photonic computing forward, is because it needs a lot less electricity to provide a lot better performance. And so if electricity is not abundant in your particular area, then you'll start developing technology going down a different track. And so that's what it looks like what Nvidia is doing, is Nvidia is pumping billions and billions of dollars into photonic computing in order to see if that is the path they should go down in the future for artificial intelligence. This is the other thing I really want you to understand too when I talk about AI, and we talk about AI being an immature stack. So with all of the trillions of dollars of AI deployments that are supposedly going out there, it's very easy to think that we understand artificial intelligence. Like, we talk about like a mature stack. So web technologies are a mature stack, right? If you're going to deploy a web application in 2026, you're most likely going to use Nginx. You're most likely going to use Node or Python for the back end. You know the database system that you're going to use. You know you're probably going to use React as the front end framework. We know how to build web applications in 2026, whether you're building the next Airbnb or you're building some kind of AI application. If it is a web application, we know how to build that. The important thing to understand is, if you go back 20 years ago, there was a lot of crap out there. There was SHTML. Do you remember SHTML? There's something called SHTML, server-side HTML. I mean, JavaScript, before JavaScript was JavaScript. So HTML5, right, is an So when I started doing HTML, it was HTML4. It was a different standard with HTML5. Basically, all these web browsers now use technology basically the same way, CSS, JavaScript, that type of thing. And so what you have to understand is, if you go back 20 years ago and you were deploying a web application, there were a lot of different ways to deploy web applications, right? There were things called ActiveX controls. There was all kinds of misery. Well, the thing is, over 20 years, we've figured out basically best practices for deploying web applications. And so web applications nowadays, they are a mature stack of technology. We know how to do it. One of the problems that we have right now when we talk about artificial intelligence is this is sold to us as if this is a mature stack, as if we know how to deploy artificial intelligence. And one of the things that I keep trying to argue here is, no, this is an incredibly immature stack. How we do AI 2, 3, 5 years from now is probably going to look a hell of a lot different than how we do AI today, which is one of my concerns with trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars in build out, right? They are literally signing contracts where by the time these data centers get fully built out, we may realize we need something entirely different. If we look at the long arc of technology history, we know that by the time these data centers get built out, that they will be obsolete by the time they get turned on, because we will have figured out a better way of doing AI. I've talked about this with the whole architecture thing, right? With, Google pushing Gemini into the Android operating system, into the Chrome browser, and into other things, right? Basically with Google is actually trying to decentralize the AI processing so that they don't need as much demand on their server resources, right? This is the kind of stuff to be thinking about when you think about this whole AI revolution. So anyways, Nvidia is going out and they're dumping money into photonics. Let's see here. Nvidia has committed at least $6.5 billion into companies developing photonic technology in the past 3 months. So again, $6.5 billion when you hear about AI, that doesn't seem like a lot of money, but that is in 3 months, as the company races to invest in solving one of the major bottlenecks to the rollout of AI. Since the beginning of March, Nvidia has announced a $2 billion investment into Lumentum, Coherent, Marvell, all of which are developing photonics tech. The chip giant also said it would invest $500 million into Corning to develop advanced optical connectivity solutions, and participated in optics startup Ayer Labs' $500 million Series E funding round. Quote, Photonics represents a way for Nvidia to scale their AI infrastructure without the energy costs that staying with electrical and copper will incur, Alvin, senior analyst for Forrester, told CNBC. By investing in photonics companies, Nvidia is making sure that advancement in photonics continue, and it will prevent them from hitting a scalability and performance wall that will occur if they remain on electrical and copper. Photonics can be used in AI infrastructure by using light to move data between graphics processing units, memory, networking chips, servers, and data centers instead of relying only on the electrical signals. Quote, Nvidia's roadmap of next-generation AI rack-scale solutions will require an increasing amount of optical connectivity to process the exponentially rising bandwidth with new models and higher usage. The chip giant has already made some photonics tech available as part of its networking solutions offering, with the company announcing tools that it said will enable AI factories to connect millions of GPUs across sites while drastically reducing energy consumption and operational costs. Quote, when you look upstream, you come to the conclusion that we're starting to scale our silicon photonics technology, Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang said at GTC in March. Quote, which means the amount of silicon photonics technology capacity that we need is substantially higher than the world has today. So we work with the supply chain to make sure we can help them build up the capacity in advance of that. So basically, they are dumping lots and lots of money into photonics, $6.5 billion in 3 months. And, you know, if things work out, they will probably dump more and more and more money into it, which becomes, you know, again, it becomes this interesting question of what, I don't know, what will AI infrastructure look like in 5 or 10 years? I do wonder about this with the whole, the Manhattan scale data centers. So we have Meta creating a data center the size of one Manhattan, like in Illinois or Indiana. We have Kevin O'Leary, who is like, well, if you're going to build a data center the size of one Manhattan, he's going to build a data center the size of 2 Manhattans in Utah. And so, right, there's this whole push to just create these absurd, it's just absurd. Anyways, these absurd sized data centers. One of the things to be thinking about, though, is what happens when you marry the concept that people don't need nearly as much artificial intelligence as we're being told they need, one. And you marry the idea like Google is actually trying to massively distribute the AI load. So not only will AI run in their data centers, but it'll actually run on your smartphone directly. It will run in your web browser directly, the whole 9 yards. So that reduces load on the data centers. And then you have something like photonics come in. If photonics can come in, and you know, I've looked at the what they talk about electricity consumption or whatever else, and apparently for electricity consumption, it's a lot less. It's like 10x or more or less. So what if these photonic systems can produce, you know, fast results for a hell of a lot less electricity? One of the big questions, and again, this is one of the questions I've had for a while, is do these data center build outs actually make sense for what the world is going to look like in 2030? And my argument for this whole, I just don't think it is, right? I think so much of these contracts, so much of what's being put on the table is based off of a view of how to build artificial intelligence that I would argue that the day these contracts is signed is already obsolete. But anyways, we'll see. We'll see. Will photonics be a thing? Who the hell knows, right? This is one of the things I've talked about before too, in the whole fight between the United States and China with this whole AI war, right? one of the arguments I made with China is what if they build just an entirely different stack? Like right now, China is winning the electric car race because in the early 2000s, they knew they could not compete with internal combustion engines. Internal combustion engines are very complicated things. They did not see those as a future. They did not see that they could compete in that area, so they started doing electric cars. And so 20 years ago, their electric cars were pretty crappy, right? In 2012, Elon Musk laughed at BYD. And now China is just stomping the world with electric cars, right? Given enough time. One of the interesting things to be thinking about this whole AI race is we are trying to prevent China from getting this old school architecture for being able to build artificial intelligence, right? Apparently, they're focusing a lot on this photonics computing. If photonics actually becomes a viable path, could we find ourselves in the future where they go on a photonics route, whereas in the United States, we don't push on it very hard? Again, you're saying, well, Nvidia is investing $6.5 billion into photonics. Obviously, we care about photonics. Yeah, but what if Nvidia becomes kind of like the Tesla, right? We had a very good electric car company. We had Tesla. We had one. We had one. And we're basically still there, right? So what happens if we do start developing photonics, but that's not where most of the energy or most of the investment goes, but that is where China pushes more of their investment? Will they leapfrog us in much the same way they have with electric vehicles? This is the kind of interesting thing to look at with all this architecture stuff. And as I've talked about before, this is where politics matter in technology, right? I get so much of this pushback from people. Eli, again, why do you talk about politics? Why do you talk about macroeconomic forces? Why do you talk about this stuff? Eli, I just want to learn about technology. Because we deploy solutions for the environment that we are in. That's what it comes down to, right? I have to build and deploy into the environment I'm actually in with the resources that I actually have, right? And so that's it. If there is more than enough electricity, right, you might design everything and build everything based off of copper because that's the way to do it. If you start having electricity, bottlenecks, maybe photonics makes sense. And so many times the decision point there is so much more wonky than you think it is. As I say, FLAPE exists. You can buy FLAPE. If you want to know how absurd our industry really is, go and start taking a look at FLAPE. Anyway, so what do you think about this? What do you think about with photonics computing? Do you think this is actually the future? What do you think about this? If it is the future, what does that mean for all of this build out that the US has been hyper scaling for the past 2 years? Literally, do you think the concept is already obsolete by the time they're signing the contract to get infrastructure built out? And what do you think about this, again, between the US and China, right? Maybe photonics is the future. Maybe photonics is the electric car of the AI world. Put your thoughts down below. If you like these episodes and you want them on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, there's a link on the doobly-doo. And if you want to follow me on LinkedIn, there's a link down there too. With that, see y'all later.